So then starting with the cylindrical coordinate system or circular coordinate system CCS, जिसको short form में हम लिखते हैं. Here we come across again the three components along the three axes. Any point can be generally represented as P with rho, phi and z in terms of cylindrical or circular coordinate system. But again, this has to be written down as the transformation is concerned. This will have to be written down again in terms of the basic coordinate or fundamental coordinate system of rectangular coordinates. Means they have to be dependent, or they have to be able to be written down in terms of x, y and z. As a general description indicates that rho phi z means z, the component along the z axis is the same as it was in that of the RCS or rectangular coordinate system. But right now, as the name indicates, this coordinate system concerns, or that deals with the circular or cylindrical sort of representation. So as far as rho is concerned, rho is actually, as you can see, that this is from the center, or from the origin, from the center of the cylinder towards one of the radial points. Means this indicates the radius of the cylinder. That may be taken anywhere, over here, over here, over here, or maybe of any length, depending on the radius of the cylinder, how much is the actual radius of the cylinder. You in this cross section, you can see roundabout, you can see a half quarter portion of a cylinder is being shown in magnified version, right? And this radial arc that indicates the radius of the cylinder, this radial arc makes an angle of 5 degrees with respect to the x-axis, and it must be in anti-clockwise or counterclockwise direction. So this overall indicates the distance of the radius, the angle of the radial arc with respect to the x-axis, and z is the center of the cylinder, and it indicates the height of the cylinder actually, right? So in that of, as you can see over there, we were having in rectangular coordinate system, we were having certain component along this x-axis, then certain component of y units along y-axis, and similarly z along z-axis. So right now over here, we will have the representation of any vector in terms of cylindrical or circular coordinate system as having certain component along rho direction, means increasing sense of this radial arc, and definitely increasing sense of radial arc means in the direction of increasing sense of a rho. Similarly, for increasing sense of angle, that may be of any number of radians, so on, covering up the entire 350 of circumference, or entire circumference of the circular bottom or top, whatever, right? So accordingly, it will have increasing sense of phi. So that's why this is in the increasing sense of along the direction of phi. Similarly, for that of z, z is the same as it was previously in that of along the that was previously in that of rectangular coordinate system, and it is indicating the height of the cylinder. So general representation is this one. So as far as the limits for rho will be concerned, that starting from the origin, from the center of the cylinder, that may have any units in the increasing sense of this rho. So this may have a range from 0 towards infinity. If we talk about from minus infinity to plus infinity, so we will have a sense like this, that is, we are moving from a straight path through the center along the radius of the, along the dia of the cylinder, right? Rho will definitely have a negative sense of rho in this direction. So minus rho to rho, minus infinity, infinity will have a sense in that of diameter of the cylinder. But as far as only rho is concerned, its limits are from 0 towards that of infinity. Similarly, for phi, entire circumference of the cylinder, that will have a range from 0 to 2 pi or 360 degrees as well. Similarly, EZ will have a sense from increasing sense of this negative z, minus infinity up to any limit of plus z. So as far as the differential length in that of the in that of the cylindrical coordinate system is concerned, again dl can be written down as certain component or summation of the changes along this rho, along this phi, and along the z. As the distances along the rho increasing sense of radial arc and along the height of the cylinder are concerned, they involve only distances in a sense. They may have any unit starting from the zero in that of rho, or rho, minus infinity to plus infinity, and minus z to plus d as minus infinity to plus infinity. So they involve only the changes in terms of magnitude. But as far as the change along this rho phi axis is concerned, as you can see that phi, that is increasing sense, so definitely it depends on this radial arc along with this angle, such that you may have any arc of the same length over here that will have another angle phi 2, phi 1, let's suppose, moving to this new point phi 2. So in between d phi, but it's an arc, it's a radial displacement, it's along the circumference of the cylinder. So that's why it will be written down as dl phi. But in detail, if we depend upon that, so that will have an equation like rho d phi along phi, means this is the unit radial arc along the change of the circumference of the radial arc that covers up along the circumference of, that is being covered along the circumference of the cylindrical coordinate system, right? So ds overall differential surface will be summation of certain component along this phi direction, along rho direction, then along phi direction, and along z direction, as we were previously done in that of the rectangular coordinate system. ds rho will be the two differential lengths whose cross product will result into this rho. So that is the product of phi with z. Similarly, z with rho results into phi, and rho with phi results into z. So accordingly, again, they are differential lengths along the particular axis, where differential surfaces as the product of two side differential lengths. So again, as far as the volume is being concerned, again we are going to have an equation like the two cross products, the two sides rho and phi cross product, the resultant will be along z, and z dot z, because it results into volume is just a dimensionless, or it is not a vector quantity in a sense that is, it is not having any specified direction. It's simply the product of length, width, and height. So in order to determine out, in order to show it in terms of these particular values, that can be resolved up, that can be determined as a product of dl rho cross dl phi dot dl z, right? So this is all about that of cylindrical coordinate system.